Thank you for coming. We're so excited to have you here. I'm Katie Bain. I'm the director of Billboard Dance, and we are at the Samsung Galaxy House at South by Southwest. And exactly. We're very, very excited to be hosting Kygo, our current cover star, one of our 4 current cover stars of the magazine, and his manager, Miles Shear, for a conversation about his music, his success, his festivals, everything. We're going to talk about everything. So let's give them a warm round of applause as we welcome them to the stage. Hey, guys. Welcome. Have a seat.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Of course. Thanks for having us.
Oh, pleasure. Okay, so we have a lot to talk about. But I first want to discuss, you guys have been around for a while, almost 10 years, which in the dance scene especially is a pretty big deal. This is a hard world to create sustainability in. And so let's talk about how you have created such longevity, what sort of the keys to that longevity have been.
I guess like our strategy has always, we've been always thinking long term. We've been always thinking that this is something we want to do for a long time. And when we booked venues, we always played strategic venues. I didn't like go and overplay a market, even though there was like a lot of hype. I could play a lot of shows, but so I guess we always like kept it, limited and kind of exclusive. And I guess part of it is also because I love, being back home. I love to, spend time making music in the studio. But I feel like that's kind of been, we've always been thinking the next tour, like we're gonna play this tour because we're gonna build for a bigger tour in the future, and always, investing in every show to make it as good as possible,
Sure. And one thing you seem to have, kind of instinctually, correct me if I'm wrong, is just sort of a real sense of boundaries about, your own pace and sort of protecting your own downtime, which in the dance scene, again, especially, can be difficult to do. Is that something that has always just sort of come naturally to you, just the ability to say no and know when to take some time off?
Yeah, I guess for me that's been very important. I see a lot of these, DJs like Diplo and Steve Aoki. They're like machines, like Tiesto. They play 200 shows a year, and they love it. I feel like I'm just not built that way. I can't really do that.
Sure.
I'm like it's gonna burn me out. And obviously, you can learn from I said like Avicii was my big inspiration, and I feel like the way like he played way too many shows.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like one of the most important things for me is, my health is number one, and my time off is very important. And that's also because I want to do this for a long time. I don't want to just like play, shows and get burnt out and have to take a long time off. I want to do this for a long time.
Sure. And one thing I think that has stayed relatively consistent, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you have such a sound. You've cultivated such a unique sound. I can hear a song and go, oh, that's Kygo. How have you sort of cultivated that sound, made something that's very much yours, while also, making music for 10 years and sort of evolving that thing as you go?
Well, yeah, I guess like in the beginning, I tried to. Like I was trying to sound like every other DJ. I tried to sound like Avicii. I tried to sound like Swedish House Mafia, and I guess I was just spending a lot of time in the studio, trying to develop my own sound, and I felt like that was kind of the way to go if I'm gonna make it. If I'm gonna, if people gonna like want to listen to my music, there got to be something special about it. So I guess it was just me experimenting and. When I kind of found my sound, I don't think I realized that this is my sound. This is like what I'm gonna go with. It kind of just happened, and I thought it sounded good, so I posted it on SoundCloud, and I felt like the reactions was just great, and it was also something that I loved making. So I just kept on making that style of music. But yeah, obviously I want to like keep evolving, keep experimenting with different sounds, but. I think there's definitely I try to always use some elements. Mm-hmm. I really want people to, if they listen to one of my songs without knowing it's me, I want them to realize it's me.
Sure.
Like, so there's some kind of identity, like some kind of like personal identity, like for me in every song.
Sure. I think you've very much done that. I can hear a song in any given place and know that it's you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's true. Miles, okay, I want to talk to you about risk taking. This is something that we talked about during both of our interviews. Is what I've heard from you is that you took risks in the beginning, especially in terms of booking venues that people thought that you wouldn't be able to fill, and then filling them up. Like, how did you have the confidence to take those risks and then follow through on them?
So first off, I'm Miles. I manage this lovely guy right here, and at this point we've been together for almost a decade now. It's crazy to actually think about it like that because it feels like we're just getting started. And at this point, we're business partners and have done so much. We built a great friendship. And, you know, when we talk about risk, I think risk is what builds friendship. I think it's what builds a successful business. And you know, in your mind, you're thinking, sometimes if you think too much, it can really hurt you and not allow you to be who you want to be and also take your business or friendship or anything where you really want it to go. And, you know, I think with Kygo, he was breaking every rule, right? He was streaming. He was the biggest streaming artist. This whole project felt like something just groundbreaking and new. It felt like, you know, something very special. And I think you have to match that element. It has to be matched. And anytime an artist is doing well and you're seeing their music everywhere, you're like, wait, why am I not seeing them perform on stage? Or why am I just hearing it on TikTok? Or why am I just hearing it there? And I think, you know, as his music was exploding, we had to make choices of how does the show match what's happening with the music and with everything happening. And, you know, one particular example was we just finished a tour. We played a few venues in New York. We played the Brooklyn Bowl. I don't know if anyone's ever been to Brooklyn Bowl. It's a bowling alley. Great place. About 1,200 people. We played Output Rooftop, which was 600 people, and we played the Bowery Ballroom, which is another 500 people. So that's around, you know, 3,500 tickets. And, you know, at the time I was like, you know, what are we going to do that's big, that's going to change the world? So I called him and I said, we're going to play Barclays Center. And at the time, Barclays Center was, you know, new. It was, you know, not too new, but it was like, you know, a lot of people were going to the room at the time, especially nobody with no radio hits. Because at the time, Spotify was so new, you know, nobody thought Spotify, all these streams or SoundCloud, like, could actually relate to ticket sales. So we decided to book Barclays. I called him up. He agreed to it. I said, oh, shit. Like, he actually agreed.
I didn't know what Barclays was.
Oops.
Oh, thank God. And, you know, we went up with it. You know, I remember even telling my agent at the time who worked at WME, I was like, you know, we're doing this. He's like, are you sure? Are you sure? And, you know, I'm like, whatever, let's do it. I mean, I think that's also part of it, too, when you take these risks. You're like, you're fearless, right? I was young, and I think that sometimes that's the best, you know, that's the best thing you can have for yourself, is to really not overthink it, to go full speed. And we did Barclays, and, you know, after everybody doubted us, our label, you know, even agents, I mean, look, they're still doubting us. I mean, I remember even calling, you know, Kira, his real name. I called his parents, or his, you know, stepfather, and I said, hey, you know what, we're going to play this stadium in Norway. And he's like, the biggest, like, you know, no Norwegian artist has ever played this stadium that he's playing in Norway coming up July 2nd. And he's like, are you sure? You know, we're in the pandemic. You know, like, I'm not, you know, are we on fire? I'm like, you know, we're doing well, but sometimes it's all about momentum, right? It's all about a feeling. And it's like, you can create these moments if you want them to happen. It's all up here. And, you know, I knew that we needed to make a statement in Norway, that he's the most famous artist to come out of Norway, that he changed the music scene. So I'm like, look, let's, you know, once again, called the agent, called everybody up. I said, let's book it. And he sold it out in 10 minutes. And he sold it out in 10 minutes. Which for me, that's why I do what I do. That makes me the happiest, is that there's nothing cooler. I remember, you know, we were together actually when we went on sale, and we're like, wow, this is unbelievable. And, you know, we also played Bank of California recently, which is another stadium in LA, and that sold out. And it's been, look, taking risks is I think why we all do it. So don't forget, take risks.
Amen. Thank you for that. I also want to talk about, you know, within that risk-taking, you guys have created such a powerful brand. And one thing that we really touched on in the cover story is just what you guys are doing in terms of expanding your brand, making it a legacy brand, and sort of what you're modeling it after. Tell the audience, if you guys haven't read the story, this is good. Tell them sort of your inspiration and your model, inspiration for what you guys are doing with Palm Tree Crew?
Sure. Well, I guess we met Jimmy Buffett a couple years ago in Aspen. He's obviously a legend. And we talked to him about, like, obviously he built Margaritaville, like, which is kind of, which started with one song, obviously, like, but he built, like, this huge thing out of one song. And I guess, like, that's something we've been inspired by ever since we heard his story, that you can build something so big from, like, one song or one, like, his music, basically. And I guess, like, what we realized was, like, Margaritaville kind of, it's a lifestyle, you know. It's not just a song, it's something bigger. It's a lifestyle. It's like Jimmy Buffett is a lifestyle. He's like Hawaiian shirts, wearing slippers, and always a margarita in his hand. And that's kind of what we saw similarities to my music. I feel like my music, like Tropical House, is something more than just, like, obviously now there's a lot of artists making Tropical House. I guess we just felt like Tropical House is also a lifestyle. It's kind of, you know, just the relaxing lifestyle of, you know, like sitting on a beach with a pina colada or whatever. So I guess that was kind of what sparked the idea of we can make something, you know, we want to create something bigger than just the music, and more venues to bring my fans and also just fans of the lifestyle together.
Yeah, and it's also like when you talked about how we went to these venues, right? Like, we chose not to go to clubs. Everybody's saying his club offers for a lot of money, and Kira was, you know, he was smart enough to be like, listen, it's so hard. I can't even stress it enough for artists to go and sell tickets. It's crazy how people will use you, you know, clubs or certain promoters, you know, to benefit themselves. And it's normal. It's part of the music business, as it is in any business. You know, he built this unbelievable fan base, right? And when you look at Jimmy Buffett, you know, he's got an unbelievable fan base. This guy sells more tickets than you can imagine. They buy all of his merch. They buy all of his clothes. It's not just business and buying either. It's about a community, right? And I feel like also, you know, we're seeing it with NFTs, and we're seeing it in, you know, so many new communities now. It's about taking your community and engaging with them and what you can do with that community. And that's what we've done. And instead of just, like, what are we going to call it? The Kygo community? I mean, that's kind of like, I love it, don't get me wrong. But I think, you know, when we see these other artists that we're inspired by, like The Weeknd, right? I feel like everybody likes The Weeknd here. Like, EXO is a cool brand. That was inspiring. OVO, you know, by Drake, that's inspiring. Like, I think that we wanted to create this community, and obviously Margaritaville, you know, is like that as well. We wanted to build a community for his fans where they could feel safe, where they could engage, where we could take their experience to the next level. Like, whether it's wearing necklaces or wearing clothes, or, you know, hopefully one day, you know, they're at our own hotel in Ibiza where he's going to perform. And I'm very excited for that. But, you know, taking our fans and giving them the experience that they deserve. And that's also, too, when we met Jimmy and he looked at Kygo, because Jimmy doesn't really go to a lot of shows. You know, he's out there, of course, but when he looked at me and I spent a little bit of time with him, he's like, dude, Kygo's like, this is me. And I'm like, wow. You know, I'm like, wow. First off, it's an honor to be able to spend time and learn from him. But it was also like an eye-opening experience that something so big is right in front of us. And it's, you know, we had to grab that and really try to build something out. So it's been exciting to see, you know, you take your fans and bring them and create an experience that most artists, first off, don't even take that time to create for them, which I think is unbelievable. So I think your fans are happy.
Well, everyone that I've told about sort of the model that you're emulating are like, that's so logical. Like, that just makes sense with what you guys sort of inherently do and who you inherently are. Tell us more about sort of building out that world, especially with the festivals, how you're kind of creating places for Kygo fans to come and exist and sort of live the lifestyle, and also, you know, partake in brands and products that you guys are supporting.
Yeah, so, you know, we just launched part of, you know, the vision of Palm Tree Crew. We just launched Palm Tree Festival that started last summer. We did it in the Hamptons, which was, you know, a big success, and it was really cool to see everybody kind of come together. And it was exclusive too. It wasn't like, you know, we're trying to, you know, sell as many tickets as possible. Like, we want to make it a great experience for our fans so everyone can enjoy it. We also have, you know, part of our model, Palm Tree Crew, we've also invested in some really cool, exciting brands that we think are good for the world, that we also think are, you know, we feel connected to. So for instance, we have a plant-based chicken company we invested in early in called Daring Foods, and it's a great product, and you can go to our festival, you get to go watch Kygo play, and then you can have, a plant-based chicken sandwich, and I think that's pretty. I don't know who else is doing that. And then we started an alcohol company that's in a can called Long Drink. The Long Drink that we started with Ricky Fowler, who's a golfer, who's our buddy, and Miles Teller, who's an actor, who's a great guy. And I can go on and on about the products, but you basically go to this festival, you get to see your favorite artist perform, you get to also indulge in all the amazing products that we're involved with that are curated for our fans that we think that they would enjoy. And it's really just like, and now we're doing them all over the world. So, we did Aspen, we did Cabo, we've got a few coming up. I don't know if I can announce them, I might get in trouble, but there should be 5 or 6 of them hopefully coming up this year. That we just announced Croatia, actually, which is pretty cool. It's on an island. That sounds scary, but no, it will be good. Don't worry. And yeah, I mean, look, like I said, back to building that community. You come to our festival, you feel like you're part of our world, and just taking that fan experience to the next level is very important to us.
Well, then you have fans for life, right? Like, people are living your lifestyle. Like, people grow up with you. And I think, we're talking about sustainability. Like, you're giving people a way to sort of mature, let's say, with the Kygo brand alongside you guys.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess that's the goal. And I feel like that's we're just getting started now with the festivals, and I feel like the response has just been great. So we're just gonna keep it going.
Sure. Okay, so what is you said Margaritaville is obviously the marquee hit for Jimmy Buffett. Do you think one of your songs sort of represents that, or is it sort of the sound in and of itself as
I think it's the sound. It's I guess like we call it Palm Tree Festival, so I feel like it's just the whole tropical feel, the lifestyle of everything. So I feel like we're gonna keep calling it tropical, but Palm Tree Festival, Palm Tree Hotel, Palm Tree Restaurants.
Sure. I'm sure we all want to eat plant-based chicken at the Kygo's Palm Tree Restaurant.
Yeah.
All around the world. I'll be there. Let's talk about music. It's ultimately why we're here. Your last album, Golden Hour, was 2021.
2020, actually.
Sorry,
yeah.
excuse me.
Beginning
Thank you.
of COVID.
And so tell me about why you chose to release the album despite the pandemic and what you're working on now.
Well, when it comes to Golden Hour, that was something I was working on for a long time, and we had, huge plans of a big launch party in New York, and obviously none of that happened. And I guess we did talk about should we, postpone the album, but I felt like I had all these songs ready to go, and I guess I'm kind of impatient. When I have something ready, I wanna release it. I wanna get it out there. And I also felt like COVID people were sitting back home, everybody wanted new music. Mm-hmm. So I felt like it was definitely not the right move to, hold the music back. So I just wanted to kind of get it out there. So I guess we just kept, the plan without the big launch party in New York. I did a live stream thing at my house in Norway, which was it was fun, but obviously not the same without the fans. Actually hearing the music, but no, so I felt like during COVID that was that people wanted new music, mm-hmm. and so I kind of just wanted to keep releasing music. And when it comes to now, I actually during COVID I was in the beginning, the first couple of months I was super motivated because now I finally had all this time back home. I could be in the studio every day. So the first 3-4 months was probably some of my most productive months in the studio, but then I guess I kind of lost inspiration there for almost a year during COVID, which I felt like a lot of other artists is telling the same story, that he wasn't really feeling motivated. So I basically didn't make a new song for I think 9 or 10 months. Miles was calling me every day, freaking out.
Like that.
Yeah. No, so but I did just take the time off because I have had, periods where the creativity and the motivation goes up and down. So I was just kind of waiting for it to come back. And now last, summer when I could start doing shows again, I felt like the inspiration and motivation came back. So now I've been creating a lot of music the last 6 to 8 months. I just released a song called Dancing Feet 3 weeks ago, which
Yeah.
I'm super excited about.
Yeah.
And I have, a lot of exciting things that I'm working on. So I'm just gonna keep releasing music this year.
You told me that you made a track that was what, 7 minutes, 9
This
minutes
is
long?
8 minutes long.
I
Yeah,
knew I was
it's-
close.
Yeah, no, that's definitely one of my favorite songs I've ever done. So hopefully I'm gonna release that in like April, May. I guess that's what we're aiming for. No, and that's definitely one of my, it definitely feels very special to me because that was the first time. Like there's always this thing where when you go like every song is supposed to be 3 or 4 minutes long, and that was kind of the first time I was in the studio. Just like I had this amazing vocal, and now I just wanted to make the song as long as it felt like as long as I felt like making it.
Sure.
So it ended up being 8 minutes long. So hopefully people.
I was going like in and out of the studio while I was making it, and he's like, "Is this too long?" I'm like, "Fuck it, just let it go. Just do it, man. Whatever makes you happy."
No, but I felt like that was very, a fun song for me to make, and it's a song that I've been wanting to make a song like that for a long time, and now kind of just everything just fell into place.
Okay. We can't wait to hear it. You said April?
Yeah, I
Something like
guess,
that.
It's coming.
April, May.
Okay. I'm glad you mentioned Dancing Feet, which is a banger. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's very fun. And Miles, what you said when we talked, which I thought was really interesting, was your strategy behind promotion. And you guys did this sort of long promotion where you teased it, you played it at festivals, whereas before you had really kept music pretty tightly under wraps. Tell me about that shift in strategy and sort of the way things are now, why it demands that long promotion period.
Yeah, well, during the pandemic, obviously a lot of things have changed on how music is getting exposed, and a big part of how music is like getting out there. People are literally playing music months, sometimes even longer, before they even release a song. And I think people are just, because there's so much content getting consumed constantly, there's new TV shows every day or every week, there's so much happening, ordinary to get people kind of excited about it, which kind of actually goes back to the old way of like when you used to get excited about seeing a movie and you'd see a trailer for like 6 months, 8 months. Oh, I can't wait to go see this movie. I can't wait to go see this movie. It kind of makes sense. It's sort of like, why would you not want to hear the song before, like to get familiar or get excited for this release to come? And I think, that was kind of part of our strategy with Dancing Feet was, getting some of like our close friends in the Palm Tree crew, to share the song and get our fans engaged and just like let them hear it and make them feel like they're a part of the release versus just like, hey, song's out on Friday, like hope you guys check it out. And I think that model is changing. I think that model is changing really in all different spaces. But yeah, that was a big part of it. I think it was cool to see your fans get engaged and hear the song before. I mean, look, nothing makes people happier when they feel part of it. I think that's like a huge part of everything that you got to do now. Is like everybody needs to feel like they're part of the movement, not just I don't care, like song's out, go check it out. And I think with Dancing Feet, and I think with honestly all future music coming, hopefully we can get them more engaged and make it more fun for them. I think why not?
Why not? And how did it feel the day that track actually came out? Like, did you feel a difference in sort of the response when people could finally hear the whole thing?
I definitely felt like there was a lot of hype going, and I felt like my fans were very happy. It's just like now it's tough to know if a song is doing well by like the first week. Like you gotta like see how it does. Like
Sure.
kind of like the first after the first 2-3 weeks. That's kind of when you see if a song is doing well. It start like rising, like the amount of streams. If it's not doing well, it's going downward. So now I feel like it's picking up now. So I feel like the response has been great. So I think the strategy worked.
And by the way, I think that's a good point too, because it's like, listen, as an artist and as a creator, things go up and down, right? And in the end of the day, you got to stay true to your craft. You got to do what you do best, and all you can do is give everything you've got. And look, that's part of life, and people, the ones that are really good at what they do, will persevere, and that does cut through all the music and all the things that are out there. And I think it's so important to keep that mindset of to keep releasing music, even when a manager, an agent, or anyone tells you not to, or you gotta really stay with your vision and stay along that. So I think that's pretty great that you have all this music and the song that's 8 minutes long, or the song that comes after that. I think just to continue pushing that and getting your music out there and making sure everybody sees your vision. And look, I think, like you said, I think it's fun to get the fans engaged. And I think that's what you got to do now. It's really important to make sure everybody feels a part of it. And I think we're going to definitely make sure and that's also with shows too. Like
Sure.
Why do you have a show? You have a show so fans can come and enjoy it and watch it and take that moment in. And why do you create a brand like Palm Tree Crew? You create it because you want to create an experience for everyone to be involved, everyone to feel like they're part of building something with you, and it's genuine. I mean, he's making music because he loves music. He's doing these things because he loves it. I mean, at the end of the day, yes, of course, there's a business aspect involved, but I'm partners with him because I truly love music. I used to DJ when I was 16, 17 years old. I wanted, to be him at one point. And, as I've come along the way, of course, I think I was better off on the business side. I think we both do these things out of passion and love. And I think it's important to keep that.
Indeed. Amen. I want to talk about, you're talking about moments. You had a global moment last November when your Higher Love edit played at the end of Biden's acceptance speech, which I thought was incredible, an incredible moment for dance music and for the country and for you as an artist. And I think the way that it happened is really interesting. Give me some of the backstory on sort of how that moment happened.
Well, I didn't even know about it until it happened. So, but I had Miles mention there was some interest there that they might play Higher Love, but I guess we didn't know that it was gonna be as big of a moment as it was. So I kind of just I was obviously watching it's in the middle of the night in Norway, the election.
Sure.
So I was sleeping and then I woke up and checking my Twitter and I got messages from all my friends. Have you seen this? This is crazy. So to me, it was kind of a surprise, but obviously a very pleasant surprise.
Well, Miles, you said that Biden's campaign had reached out to you and said that they were kind of using the song as like a pump-up jam.
So they were fans, and they were telling us, when they were deep in the campaign, they were mentioning to me, they're like, hey, we just want to let you know, Kylie's Higher Love song, every time we were losing in the polls, we played it every single day for the entire team. I was like, wow. I was like, that's pretty crazy. And we wanted to, any way we could help or any way we could, help them achieve their goals. We were anything we could do. We offered our services, and it was a pandemic, so it wasn't like he could go and be in the office and play the piano for them, or there wasn't much we could do because he was on the other side of the world and nobody was traveling at that time. But it was definitely a very, very cool moment. I'm happy his music could help their team get through that moment. So,
Well, in terms of moments, I just feel like you guys have had so many. You had the Olympics, you had that. I mean, the Whitney edit was a big moment in and of itself. You've played every major festival. You have your own festival. You have this, booming brand. What is there left to do in terms of accomplishments here?
Well,
I could go on and on. So
Please do.
I'm not gonna.
Well, for me, I guess that's the difference between me and Miles. My goal is the same now as it was in 2013, when I started. I just want to, make music full time. That's what I want. I want to be able to, travel around, do whatever I do today, play shows, and make music. And I guess that's still my goal, as long as I can just keep doing this. So I've never really had a specific goal, I want to play main stage, Coachella, I want to do this, I want to do that. Obviously, when it happens, it was amazing, but I wasn't the one, setting specific goals. I wanted to do this and that. I just wanted, to keep releasing music. I wanted, obviously, it felt good every time I released a song, and the response was great. But my main goal is, the same as it was, 10 years ago, just be able to do this.
Sure. Well, and I suppose nothing else would be happening if that weren't happening. The music drives it all.
Yeah, but I guess for Miles, it's he's always been very
I wanna hear
we gotta go
Miles's
play
list.
this venue. We gotta go play this venue.
I think moments make it all. So for me, moments are what I think has built the brand. Of course, the music comes first, but I think those moments like we said, when music's doing well or things are happening, those moments are supposed to be right next to it. It's supposed to look like the music is working, right? It's supposed to look like everything that we're doing is making sense. So I feel like, you know, like when we sat down and you interviewed him for the Billboard cover, I mean, like the Billboard cover, right, that came out, that's a great moment, you know? I mean, I think that's a huge moment. And, you know, all these things, he's playing Ultra Music Festival next Friday, and he's headlining and closing, which for his type of sound, like, everyone's like shocked, you know. Like I had some of the biggest artists that are DJs that we've been friends with for a long time. They're like, what? Like really? Like Miles, I'm just giving you a heads up. Like I'm going really hard before a set. I'm like, bring it on, let's go. And the moments are really important. And you know, when you say what moments are there left to do, there's always a moment to be had, and that's the truth. And we've got some really cool things coming up this year that I'm very excited about, and I think that we're going to continue trying to just keep pushing the needle. And yeah, the Olympics was unbelievable. I'll never forget that when we were down in Rio during that time. I was like, this is pretty crazy. And sometimes we're in the business, right, where we forget, because like my mind's always like, I already know what we're doing in 2 years from now or a year and a half. I already know where I see him being. He probably doesn't. But, and it's important to also take those moments and enjoy them, whether they're small, whether they're big, and really, you know, enjoy it. Because sometimes I've always had to remind myself along the way, like, wow, you know, this is a big deal. You got to enjoy it. You got to take it in. And, you know, if I could go back, I would definitely try to take a couple more of those moments in. But I try to do that a little bit more now. But the moments are definitely why we do it, and want to make more of those.
Well, thank you for giving us this moment. And hopefully everyone's coming to the show tonight, which will be another one. Yes. Yeah. And thank you guys. It's such a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.